Five Nights at Freddy's is a game known for its horror, lore, and jump scares, but what if those jump scares are just too loud for you? Today we're going to be tackling every Five Nights at Freddy's game and seeing if they're all possible if you decide to turn your sound all the way off. The rules for this challenge are 1. I cannot hear the game at any time. 2. I have to complete the first 5 nights of the game, with the 6th night being optional if I feel like I can do it. Without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to take this chance at the beginning of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 to tell you how this video is going to work. First, I'm going to play every useful audio clip and tell you why it's useful, so that you can see truly how much information we don't have at our disposal. So, here are the useful audio clips in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Freddy's laugh is an indicator that he has moved. He usually doesn't move until the later nights, but if we aren't careful, he can sneak up on us. These indicate that either Bonnie or Chica has moved and can be a useful indicator of their position. If we aren't vigilant with our door lights, this could be a problem. This is actually the one that caused me the most trouble in this playthrough. It is much easier to react to sound than it is to visuals, so if you aren't careful, you can easily flip up the monitor when you really shouldn't. All of that being said, this is easily the easiest game in the series when it comes to beating it audioless. I had almost no trouble beating it this way, and I even decided to beat 420 mode just because I could.
Yes! There we go. Finally. Jeez.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 ups the ante on the first one by making us have to face not 4, but 10 animatronics. However, this game doesn't rely that much on audio either, due to the fact that most animatronics rely on fast reactions. Here are the useful sound effects in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This sound lets us know when we need to check the hallway, which is most important so we can flash Foxy. This lets us know when Mangle is in the vent to our office. It may not seem that useful, but I did die to this once.
Fuck! Okay. Not good. That's how you guys know I can't hear the game. If I could hear the game, I would know he's in my vent, like from a mile away. Oh, no, I'm dead. Tragic.
Okay, this sound effect is actually what makes this game harder than the first one. This lets us know when animatronics have entered the vent, but more importantly, when they leave the vents. If we have the mask on for a vent animatronic, we can never know if they left. Luckily, we can circumvent this by waiting in the mask for 5 seconds. This forces all animatronics to leave the vents. That's besides Toy Bonnie, but he has a pretty obvious tell for when he leaves.
Okay, this is the first time I've had to deal with someone in my vent, so I'm just gonna wait a few seconds. Okay, she left.
Once again, like Five Nights at Freddy's 1, this one didn't give me too much trouble, and I was able to beat Night 6. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is where the difficulty really starts to ramp up. Here are the useful sound effects. This sound effect tells us if Springtrap has gotten past camera 5. This makes it much harder to determine his position if we lost track of him. This sound effect tells us if Springtrap had crawled into a vent. Not hearing this makes the game much harder. We have to be super vigilant in keeping Springtrap near a vent that is already closed, and we also have to periodically check the vent cameras to make sure he didn't get into one. So, this one was much harder than the first two. Especially being unable to hear the vent crawling sound effect is crippling. I didn't have much trouble beating the first 5 nights. I even had the aggressive cheat on for night 2 by accident.
Okay. Do I have the aggressive cheat on? Yes, I do. Okay, my mistake. My mistake.
However, I decided I would try Nightmare Mode. That was a mistake. I struggled on night 6 for over an hour and 20 minutes, even though I didn't need to beat it. Eventually though, I did.
Like, it doesn't matter where he is, it's the run, I win.
Yes!
Okay, okay. I know most of you guys probably only clicked the video for this part, so I'll start off with why this game is going to be a problem. The only way to know if we should flash or close the door is to listen for the breathing, which we can't, so that could cause some issues. We can also hear these footsteps whenever Chica or Bonnie approach the door. Less auditorial information in a game where we have almost no visual information already. Great. When playing the game normally, a strategy is to keep Foxy out of the room by following his footsteps. We cannot do that here, so it's essentially up to luck whenever Foxy gets to the room, and he gives us just another thing to worry about. On night 5, the game switches up entirely and we have to face Fredbear. Assuming we can even get past the first 4 nights, we won't be able to tell which hallway Fredbear is in. Surely this wouldn't be a problem, as we could just check both. Oh, so Fredbear can laugh and enter our room and the closet, and we have no way to know when he does this. This is going to be difficult. So I actually did some theory crafting and I actually came up with a strategy for the first 4 nights. Here I am showcasing it with the house map sheet. When I approach the door, I have no way to know if Bonnie or Chica is at that door. My solution to this is to close the door. When the door is closed and an animatronic is not at the door, they advance in the hallway towards the door. I then reopen the door, because if I don't, they'll just never go away. And I then hold the door closed for 4 to 5 seconds. After 4 to 5 seconds, the animatronic will usually leave the door. We have no way to know if they actually left, and they can stay for as long as they want, but after 4 to 5 seconds, it's usually safe to leave the door. We just have to take the risk. As for Foxy, I flash the light after having closed the door the last time, as this can sometimes repel him, but in reality, there's nothing we can do to prevent him from getting in eventually. So, did this strategy work?
Oh my god. Yes! Oh my god.
Surprisingly, yes. If we play perfectly and fast enough, we can beat the first 4 nights with this strategy. So, what about Fredbear? Okay, so to sum up my strategy for night 5, go fast and get lucky. My strategy, if it can even be called that, is to check both hallways. If I don't see him, I check the bed and the closet. I repeat this. There are times where I will check every spot and still not find him. Why this happens, I'm not exactly sure, but I assume it's because he just hates me. And after 45 minutes,
2, 3, 4. Yes! Five Nights at Freddy's 4! No audio! No audio!
I was able to beat Night 5, and by extension, 5 Nights at Freddy's 4, with no sound whatsoever. So Sister Location kind of breaks the formula and gives us a unique challenge to perform every night. So I decided to take this apart night by night. In Night 1, we start in the elevator, where Hand Unit feeds us some information about the job.
You eggs Benedict, go do your job and get exotic butters or something.
We go on to shock Ballora, Funtime Foxy, and Baby before leaving. No audio needed. Night 2 starts similarly, although after an error prevents us from shocking Baby, we need to hide under the desk while Hand Unit restarts the system. Baby gives us some information before we hide under the desk, including not to make eye contact. Not hearing this, our character decides to look at every Biddy-Bab in the eye. Turns out it makes no difference. Who knew? Anyways, after passing this section, we will be tasked with restarting the system manually, but to do this, we have to make our way through Ballora Gallery. At first glance, this seems impossible. We need to listen for Ballora's music and stop when we hear it. I was stumped on this section at first, until I realized that this section was completely scripted. I ran through this part one time with audio. I'm sorry if you think this is cheating, but I was not about to brute force my way through this. And then I wrote down the start and stop times. Recreating these times allowed me to beat this section without having to listen at all. That is, with some trouble recreating my steps exactly. After this, we have the reboot section with Funtime Freddy. Thankfully, gaslighting Freddy via Bonbon does not require any sound cues at all, and we are able to complete this night with no issues. On night 3, we are tasked with making our way through Funtime Auditorium to repair Funtime Freddy. Going through Funtime Auditorium doesn't require any use of audio, and spamming the flash beacon seems to make Funtime Foxy disappear from existence. Repairing Freddy wasn't too difficult, though I was mostly pressing random buttons until Freddy's face opened. After clicking on Bonbon's face, we make our way back through Funtime Auditorium only to be hit with a scripted jumpscare from Foxy. No audio needed. On night 4, we first wait through the longest cutscene of all time, and during this, Baby essentially tells us that she kidnapped us and we better wind the spring locks before we die. Of course, my character wouldn't know any of this as he is deaf, but he winds the spring locks through instinct, something his father never could. Night 5 has us make our way through the Funtime Auditorium, and afterwards we see Baby in the parts and service room. She asks us to press her button on her cheek when... oh no. We need to type a code. This code is random, and it's 10 digits long.
Snake, are you okay? Snake? Snake?
As you can probably tell, we have no way to get past this. I actually had high hopes after making it through Five Nights at Freddy's 4, but Night 5 of the next game is where we can finally no longer progress. Even going to the private room requires us to get past this part. Here's my reaction to me realizing my mistake just after Night 4.
Guys, I just realized something. Guys, this game isn't possible. I'm gonna have to type in the code for Baby, and it's random.
This marks the end of the audioless run, unfortunately. After turning on the speakers and turning this into a minimum audio run, we are able to get past this horrid keypad and make our way back through Funtime Auditorium. Similar to Night 2, this section where Baby leads us to the scooping room is also scripted, and we can beat this the same way as Night 2, and we get scooped. I always wondered why Michael didn't just step slightly away and dodge the scooper.
It's Rick Astley!
After the heartbreak that was Sister Location, we make our way to the next game in the series, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. Compared to the difficulty of 4 and the straight up impossibility of Sister Location, this game was a walk in the park. Here are the useful sound effects in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. These sound effects tell us if something is in the vent, so we can stare at it and prevent it from killing us. While that's really the only one that matters, it is a big one. The main strategy of this game comprises of listening and looking at what you heard. Without that, I had to come up with another strategy. This one is actually quite similar to my Fredbear strategy. Be fast and get lucky. I placed the audio lure and speedrun my task while looking at the vent opposite of where I placed it. This is surprisingly effective, and I'm able to complete all nights, including Saturday, with almost no problems. Henry then proceeds to drop the most fire monologue of all time. If only I could hear it.
Shut up.
You shut up.
That's why your shoes are raggedy.
That's why Charlie's dead.
So that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to share this video with your friends and let me know if you would like to see a part 2 video where I tackle the next games in this series. This is definitely the video I've worked on the most, so let me know if you liked it. See you next time.